She's a hater.
Isn't that most people, though, when they talk to you?
Yes.
So I went to go shoot a leg up, and they just dropped. Was like, oh, pulled them up, and then I went and duct taped them around.
Thug life. Gang member.
More like thought life. It is a good thing I am married. Married. Married.
This ain't no regular thing. I came for the ring, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean. This is my city, yeah, this is my team. You see my name in the lights. Better get right, I'm champion.
All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of That's How You Feel. As always, I am the one and only, the main host, Levi. And today joining us, the one, the only, hateful Caleb Anthony. That's how you feel. As always, if you're watching, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We appreciate you guys taking time out of your days to listen. Also, don't forget to check us out on Patreon. Each week we have extra content from each episode, as well as some additional side quests, and we have more coming up. So, if you haven't checked us out yet, what are you doing? Anyways, Next. Speaking of Next, did you ever watch the show Next, the MTV show Next?
I think so. Was it like a dating thing?
Yes. I think it's on Netflix now.
Ugh.
I know, or Hulu or something. And I turned it on the other day. It's so bad. It's so bad. That's when they had the Will You Date My Daughter show where they had to date the moms. They had Next. They had like such crazy... Tila Tequila was back in those days.
Shot at Love with Tila Tequila, yeah.
Yep. New York.
I love New York. I love hip hop New York.
Flava Flav.
The only show that I watched that was like even like remotely close to that was called Eliminate. It came on like late at night at like on like UPN or like I think it was UPN. There were two shows. It was like Eliminate and there was another like one. It was like a blind date or dating show.
Was it The Fifth Wheel?
No, I think that was one too.
Because I used to watch that late at night.
But like usually, Eliminate was one of them. It was like four people
before like Girls Gone Wild and everything came on TV.
Yeah, but it was like one girl or one guy and like three people are on a date with them, and then like at the end of each round, he would like get rid of somebody.
Yes,
that was Eliminate, and then there was another one. It was like there was like two people on a date. And then, like, by the end of it, it was like, are you going to go on a second date? And usually, like, it was like they always hooked up at the end of the date. Really set unrealistic expectations for first dates. Because by the time I started dating, I was like, all right. And none of them ended like that.
Now, y'all looked at me kind of crazy when I said something about the Girls Gone Wild. That's because you too young. You didn't watch TV back in the day like we used to. But back in those days, with regular channels, you didn't have cable because you couldn't afford it. And so... you would wait. Cheaters came on. Do you remember Cheaters?
I do remember Cheaters.
Cheaters would come on, like, so all these shows would come on late at night, but then like at 2 o'clock or 3 is when they would have like the bar shows or like Girls Gone Wild. I didn't, sounds like a, whatever. It doesn't matter. And also the Psychics. You remember the Psychics? Call now to get your future. What was her name? Cleo. They had a Netflix special about her.
I want to go back to this Girls Gone Wild.
I'm just here. Come on, am I crazy?
No, Levi, you're not crazy. You just didn't have to mention it. But hey, pop off, King.
Times have changed.
They have. They have. Is that what's new with you? Reminiscing about Girls Gone Wild?
No. What's new with? There's nothing good new with me. I don't know. Do you just feel like I know the world's gone crazy, but do you feel like just every person? It's just so heavy in the air right now. No?
Well, yes. I feel like everyone else is really stressed out and very heavy.
Yes.
I understand that everybody else is having not so good of a time right now.
That's what I was asking.
Yes. I do feel that. I feel like everyone else is. I see that everybody else is not having a good time.
And it's got to stop. It's got to stop.
For them, yes.
Oh, not for me?
I'm fine.
Not for me, though? You want it to keep going?
No, I want you to not have I want you to have a good time. I'm having a fine time.
Let's go to comments.
like. Okay, so for one example, the price of gas goes up and down. Right now, I think it's kind of low right now. But like when the price of gas is crazy, like there's never a point in complaining about it. Like, what am I going to do? Walk?
That's not what I'm talking. I'm not talking about like those things, inflation and things like that.
What are you talking about?
Because that stuff sucks. But I'm talking about just in general. I have been surrounded by so many people who have been diagnosed with cancer, fighting illnesses, their families fighting illnesses, or there's just some heavy stuff going. It just seems like it has not stopped. And things even in my own personal life, and it's taking the breath away. Like I just can't. It's like I want to help everyone, and I know I can't. And I've worked through some of that, but it's been a lot, and it almost paralyzes.
I was talking about you the other day with my spouse about you. She was like, "Has Levi talked to you lately?" I was like, "Nah, not really." She was like, "He's not. He's going through a lot." I was like, "Oh yeah, I know. He's a real empath. Like he feels a lot from everybody." She's like, "Have you talked to him about it?" Nah. that's the okay. Oh man, okay. This is just so okay. This is just here's something. Sorry. Gosh, you cannot relate to this at all because you ask questions. You are all in the details. Like if you and I hung out for like 2 hours or whatever, and then you went and then talked to your spouse, and she said, "How is hanging out with Caleb?" You would be able to say, "He's doing great. He's going through this, and stop it. You would go, "He's doing great. This, and this, something, blah, 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 blah. We talked about this, blah, 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 blah." You'd be able to give all kinds of details. Or let's say you hung out with Dylan. Then you'd be able to do that because Dylan would talk to you and be a friend and all that stuff. I could spend time with you, and then my wife would go, "Oh, how's Levi? He's good. Oh, what happened?" I don't know.
What's funny though is, and I'm not even going to answer it. Julia, when this happens, how do I respond? When I come home from and you ask me how it was, how do I respond?
No.
We don't break down. Like when I get in the door, I shut. My wife knows, and it's not a good thing. I'm not saying like I'm not praising it, but I shut down mentally, and I'm not saying because my wife's home. Like she's my safe space. I can finally just slow down.
Okay. Well, then let me rephrase this whole thing then. I'm sorry. You can cut that whole thing.
No, we ain't cutting it.
Okay, fine. But what I'm saying is that like something like anything could happen in a friend of mine's life, and that will be all that I know. Like, let's say my friend Bill is getting a divorce. I'll go home and be like, "Oh man, Bill's getting a divorce." My wife will be like, "Oh, what happened?" And she was like, what's going on? I'm like, "Honey, I gave you everything I knew right there. I gave you all the details I had." And she gets so mad at me all the time because I have never asked a follow-up question ever. And I was saying that you couldn't relate because you do ask follow-up questions. You do dig. You do like get into the nitty-gritty. And I have never done that. And I'm just
do dig and I do get in the nitty-gritty, but I am bad about like if talking to Julie about it, being like, "Oh yeah, this is what happened," like telling the details about it. Because when I'm digging, typically it's in like as a friend to friend. Really, I am just so interested in figuring out why people are the way they are, what shaped them in their life, what events in their life happen. Like this isn't. So I guess when I'm talking to people, I'm like storing my own knowledge. I guess everyone does, but I really love to dig into people's lives. Yes, it happened. This stemmed from my brother and Ron passing, because it's puts you and having young kids at the same time. It puts you in this life review almost. And so like there's times where I'm watching Brooklyn and Boston play with each other so lovingly. And I'm like, how cool would it be to sit here and watch me and my brothers play and see what it was like then? Because you see pictures all the time, but a picture only says so much until you're actually there in the moment. So I look back and there are things that shaped me, but I also want to know about other people. I want to know about their families. I'm interested. Other cultures, other people, other families, other issues, other point of views. You checked out.
No, I was thinking about how cool I did check out, but I checked out. No. This is a dumb one, but I was thinking about, because you were talking about how cool would it be to see you play with your brothers. And I was like, what if I could go back in time and like watch myself play with my brother, or like, then I thought, could I intervene and be like, hey, don't fight with your brother as often? Like, would I be able to like,
but also
send
do you
a
think
message or cryptic?
But you never know, because I wonder if because you watch Gabe now and you're going to be having a daughter, you're going to watch them interact with each other. And for me, it's brought up a lot of like sibling things, because you're watching two siblings grow up. And so what if you got that chance to go, just hypothetically, watch yourself as younger? You're in your mind, you have it like, quit fighting with your brothers, but you see how happy you were playing with each other. How would that shape you? Would you be shocked?
I'd be shocked, because then I would go. I would be able to realize it wasn't that bad. Like we didn't fight as often as I think we did, or something like that.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, maybe I am going back in time and like finding things, because I realize I lost something, and then all of a sudden I see it like in a spot that's like clear as a bell, and I'm like, ain't no way I left that there. So is that my future self going back and going, let me help Caleb out because he's being dumb again?
So you believe in time travel?
No.
I don't believe in time travel.
Let's get into the questions of the day. No, we gotta go to comments first. Comments from old episodes before we do the question. So this comes from the video where we had a lovely guest on, Michaela, asking, is spaghetti as a side dish? And I also said in that video that I don't think vegetables are real. And M. Soifua says,
Shout out Randy.
Who's Randy?
It's one of Julia's closest long.
Is that M. Soifua?
Yeah, Miranda. You've met her before.
Yep. This is the first time I've ever agreed with Caleb. We can go ahead and end the episode there, right? Like,
it's truth. I mean, that is that's gospel right there.
So I think we can go ahead and wrap this up as an episode.
He had one person believe in him.
Sure did.
Life.
And then, so we asked the question on a later episode about hygiene. Have you ever been to someone's house and you were afraid to sit? Pork Chop says, went over to a woman's house one day that I met online, pulled up. There were roaches outside of her front door. Shamelessly, still smashed. Got to see it through, my boy. Got to see it through. You know what's funny? I read that and I did not think what he meant. I thought he still smashed the roaches. And I was like, and then I liked the comment. I was like, oh, you still smashed the roaches and still went in and hung out and had a great time. And
they had a time.
And I didn't read that. And I was like, hang on.
Actually, good job, Pork Chop.
Hey, but then when I finally understood, I was like, got to see it through, my boy.
Here's the thing. I will tell you, this is random, but because it's a comment, no judgment. But I hate the phrasing of smash in that sense.
Nah.
I do. I think it just sounds so awful.
It's insensitive.
It's just, like we're going to that. No, come on. Have some decency.
Got to see it through, my boy.
All right. What's the next one?
We're talking about hygiene. And this is just kind of like
Gene.
And you get mad at me when I ignore you and just move on when you say something, and I'm just like, look what you're giving me. What's
funny is you started to look at your phone before you realized it. Because you're like, wait, who is Gene?
Yeah. Man, look. I don't know if I've ever ranted on this. I'm going to be nice. Never mind. We're going to move right on. We're talking about hygiene. Light Skin Bree. Hi, Brittany. Light Skin Bree says, I'm listening and judging. Brittany's a she's a good friend of mine. And when I talk to her sometimes, she judges me all the time. I say things. She's very judgmental. She's a hater.
Isn't that most people, though, when they talk to you?
Yes. Rachel said, and our friend Rachel. Rachel, hi.
Shout out Rachel.
Rachel says, I can't express the gratitude for your prayers and shout outs. Things are going in the right direction. See y'all soon. I got to give her a hug today.
I didn't see her.
She was there.
I was looking for Rachel.
Did you see her last week? Because apparently she was there last week too.
No, I was not at church last week.
Where you been? What you doing? You ain't at church last week. You didn't sing
Remember
this week.
Remember how your wife said I was going through a lot? Have you checked in on me?
I just told that story and she's like, I said, nah, I didn't ask anything.
Yeah.
What was going on with that?
I wasn't at church last week, so.
And you ain't singing this, bro. You really going through something. You want to talk about it?
Oh, it's about time you asked me 3 months later.
Hey, tell you what, we'll go on Fortnite later and we're going to talk about it.
You know you ain't getting on Fortnite tonight.
Yeah, not tonight. I mean, you know what? I could make a bad decision or two tonight. We'll see. Look, if we can finish this episode and get done early, we can hop on Fortnite tonight.
Get to talking.
See, look at the excitement now. Rachel, yeah, we're going to see you soon, real soon, girl. All right, now
so continued prayers for Rachel, but also it is lovely to be able to see, I haven't got to see you in person, but see you comment, and just know the impact you've had on so many people.
I was holding back tears when I saw her. I was like, oh, God. Oh, God.
He don't do that for everyone, Rachel. He don't do that for anyone.
Thug life, right? Gang member.
More like thought life.
Now, you see, when you said that, I thought THOUGHT, and I was like, thought life. That doesn't make sense. And then I was like, oh, THOT. All right. Questions.
Question of the day.
Oh. When you crack eggs, do you crack the egg and then put the shell in the trash can, or does the shell go back into the carton?
It goes back in the carton until I'm done cooking. Before I put the eggs in the fridge, I will put it on there, or it goes on the cake mix bag or whatever plastic bag's there. I can just set it down until I can clean up everything. I don't have the trash can right next to me.
Okay, so your trash can is a ways away. So you do what with the eggs?
So once I crack the egg,
yeah.
You got two halves. I'll put them together so they're upside down, and I'll set it in the hole just so it has a place to
in the carton.
Just until I get ready to clean up, and I will dispose of it and then put the eggs in the thing. Okay, or if I have like a box that I'm cooking with that's going to be trash, I'll put it in there.
Julia, do you also do the same thing as well? Like y'all crack eggs the same way? Y'all weird. Yeah, it's weird because y'all both do the same thing.
Because we're two in sync.
A little bit. It's kind of annoying. It's unbecoming. Anyway,
it is really. I mean, it is annoying because not for me, but for others. Like we are just whole. We're one. And
shut up. I'm gonna answer that now. Before I got, I won't say corrected, but before I got adjusted, we used to buy eggs in a carton. They come in, obviously. I would crack the egg and then put the shell back in the carton and just leave it there until the entire carton was done, and then I would throw the entire carton away.
That's a choice.
You stupid. No, but like my wife was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, what's going on?" And she's like, "Do you put the egg back in?" I was like, "Yeah, what's the problem?" And she was like, she was like grossed out by it. Yeah. And so now when I crack eggs, I throw the shell immediately in the trash can. But like I used to put the egg back in the carton and just, that was the thing.
All right.
It didn't bother me. And it was like, and so
Can you do the one-handed crack?
Yeah, but I don't.
I want to. I'm close.
I'm too nervous.
I'm close to
because like it takes finesse because like you got to like crack it and it's got to be a smooth crack and then you can split it. Otherwise, like you just like, and then it just like cracks in your hand. It's not good. It takes some finesse. So I'm gonna have you rank the top 10 greatest male pop singers of all time, as according to Ranker.
Okay.
Top 10.
And so I just rank.
No. You're gonna guess who the top 10 are. So if you I'll tell you what number they are. You just gotta like throw out names, and I'll tell you if they're in the top 10 or not.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson is number 1. Prince is number 7.
Okay. Can it be groups or is it people?
These are all individual people.
Okay, and it's pop singers?
Pop singers of all time. So you gotta like not just 2000s.
Does Whitney Houston count as pop?
The greatest male pop singers of all time.
Got it. Adam Levine?
He is not on the list. He's not in the top 10.
Justin Bieber?
Okay. Not one person in the top 10 was born before the 90s. No, was born after the 90s.
Okay, I was confused.
Sorry. They are older people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And they're men. And they're pop singers.
Some of them are dead.
Some of them have died.
So, yeah, let me just like help you out there a little bit.
Well, Prince and Michael Jackson.
They are both dead. All right.
Paul McCartney. Elton John.
Elton John is number 5.
Number 5. Billy Joel.
Billy Joel is number 10.
Number 10. Okay. Who's the other one?
I don't think you're gonna get any more of these, but
well, because I'm going to Rat Pack days, and that's not pop. Like Frank Sinatra.
he is number 4.
New York.
Really? Okay. I don't. Okay. Then Frankie Valli.
Not on the top 10. You got 2 black people left.
James Brown.
Not on the list.
Sam.
Not on the list. I don't even know what Sam you're about to
Marvin
say.
Gaye.
Marvin Gaye is number 8.
But he's not black.
He is number 8.
He's not black,
He is
right?
black. Marvin Gaye is very black.
What album cover am I thinking of that had a white dude on it?
It wasn't a Marvin Gaye album. Marvin Gaye is a black man.
Okay, so who have I said so far?
You have guessed so far. You have guessed Michael Jackson. He's number 1. You have not guessed number 2 or 3. You have guessed. You have guessed Frank Sinatra at 4. You guessed Elton John at 5. You missed number 6. You said Prince at 7. Marvin Gaye at 8, and Billy Joel at 10. So you're missing number 9. You're missing number 6.
Steven Tyler.
Not on the list. And number
Lionel
2,
Richie.
not on the list. And 2 and 3. All right, let me help you with number 2. Couldn't help you. Don't know who he's from.
Smokey Robinson.
Not on the list. Oh, this person. He was in the legend. He was in a band, in a rock band, a legendary rock band. Number 2 was
Ozzy Osbourne.
Nope. He had 2 of the greatest ballads of all time.
Meatloaf.
No. The ballads are Bohemian Rhapsody and Don't Stop Believing.
Oh, Freddie Mercury.
He's number 2.
Okay. But because Queen... Okay, go ahead.
This number 3 was known for his hips.
Well,
His hips don't lie.
That's Shakira's. I'm known for my hips too, but I'm not on this list.
Vegas.
Oh, Elvis.
Elvis Presley is number 3.
How did I not get Elvis? But he's known as the king of rock.
Well, this is according to Ranker. This person, this dead giveaway, is blind.
Oh, I thought you were going to say black.
He is also black.
Stevie Wonder. How did I not get him earlier?
And number 9, he's not American. He's European.
Okay.
He's knighted.
Enrique Iglesias.
He is European.
Knighted?
He's knighted by the Queen.
Because I know everyone that's been knighted by the Queen.
He's a Beatle.
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
Oh, I almost said that. Didn't I say the Beatles earlier?
You said the Beatles, but he did? Yeah. Did he really? Yeah. My bad. That's on me. All right. That was kind of fun. Now, hey, that was according to ranker.com. So if you want to find some fun lists on there, there's actually a ton of lists you can.
Well, they don't know pop singers.
All right. So I want to get into the topic.
What are we talking about?
We're going to talk about bullying.
What? Sorry. I was mumbling.
Just did it.
I was making fun of myself.
It came across as you're making fun of me. But
right.
that's fine, though. I wanted to talk about bullying for a bit because...
Did you realize that you're actually the bully?
Nope. Sure ain't. I'm not the bully. I really am not. Well, I don't think I am. Okay, anyway, because in almost every episode, you have said I was bullied. In a lot of episodes, you bring up the fact that you've been bullied before.
Is it like this time that I did CrossFit?
It's a bit. You talk about it a bit much. But it got me, as often as you bring it up, it made me wonder, is Levi over that? Because I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you bring it up because I don't know. But it makes me wonder, is Levi over being bullied, or is there still the thought of being bullied? Does that memory still have pain attached to it?
No.
Well, you bring it up a lot. You bring it up a lot
because that was a part of my life that was a big chunk, and it helped shape me to who I am today. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. So
I kind of wanted to just start the conversation off with, and this is so even before I even get to you. I was with some family earlier today, and I have a cousin who is 12 years old, mm-hmm. and she had said at this cookout, she was like, "Yeah, my bully did that the other day," and I was like, "I have questions for you," and me and my 12-year-old cousin, she's this adorable little girl, and I was like, "Do you have a bully?" She's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Wait, You actively know right now in this moment, she's like, yeah, I've had a bully for 4 years. I was like, hold on. Like, and so like, I basically, every question I asked you, I'm going to ask you, I asked her, and she was like, yeah, I've had a bully for 4 years. And I was like, and she tells me the story of how it started, where it's at now, how she's dealing with it. And I was so blown away by, one, the emotional strength and intelligence this 12-year-old girl had to be able to speak about the situation. Her parents are aware of it too. And like, I talked to them briefly about it, and they're like, oh, they're actively trying to handle it. And it blew my mind, because when I grew up, I'll just talk briefly about myself for a second. When I grew up, I don't think that I had what people imagine in their mind as a bully. In fact, I think at moments I had a lapse of judgment where I picked on someone, but I don't think, hopefully Michael would never think of me as Caleb was my bully. Because I would describe as bully as like, there's a pattern of behavior. Like there's one person or there's people that like you consistently pick on. And there's never anybody like that in my life where I was like, I picked on this kid incessantly or whatever. So there have been moments where I teased other students, but like, it was never like I was a bully to anybody.
Yeah.
At least I don't think I was. If I was a bully to you, please tell me. If you want to punch me in the face, you go ahead and let me know.
Get ready.
This guy. All right, so let's talk to you about it. So,
well, and can I say something real quick? So, I will say, since we're talking about bullying, it's hard to kind of because it's when everyone picked on someone when they were kids. Some others got picked on dramatically, or bullied a lot, and there are levels to it. And I do think it is something that parents need to be mindful of. Teachers need to be more mindful of. It's hard though, because everyone uses the word bully nowadays, which that's what it is. I know it's weird explanation, but if someone for the first time says, oh, your hair's ugly or something, they may come home from school and say, Mom, I was bullied today. This person, blah, blah, blah. And they may never talk to that person again. Now, granted, did that person say something bad about them? Should they be saying stuff to make someone else feel bad? Absolutely not. But I think when people say bullied, it often gets overlooked because we've all been bullied, right? We've all been made fun of. We've all had someone hurt our feelings about something. But there is a level of bullying where it's a day in, day out thing, or maybe for years, that I think because it's such a common thing, it just gets overlooked. And so people don't want to talk about it in general. And so if people give them an excuse not to, they're going to, because they don't want to make it worse.
Right. Yeah. The last thing I'll say about my cousin, I put my hands up and I was like, hey, if this is everything that goes on in your school, you move my hands to how much your parents actually know about. And she moved my hands to like this. And I was like, what? She's like, oh yeah, there's a lot that goes on. My parents know about that much. And I was like, so this is everything. They know this much. And she's like, yeah, but that's the bullying stuff and like the stuff that really like gets to me. And I was like, okay, but
think about it. When you were her age, how much did your parents know about what happened?
My parents didn't know a thing.
Exactly.
They knew about grades and that was it.
My parents barely knew about grades.
I got married on a swing set. Like, my parents didn't know about that. I was betrothed at a young age.
I get it. I'm still technically spiritually married to someone. It happened to a psychic. We never spiritually divorced.
Is that why you brought up the psychic hotline?
No.
Who was your first wife's name? What was your first wife's name?
We'll talk about that off in the group chat.
That's funny.
You know this person.
Do I really?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Mm-hmm. I don't know your... Excuse me? We're going to stop the whole show right now. Hold on. We're going to go to a commercial break.
You don't know him. It's someone that I introduced you to. We were just friends, and we saw a psychic, and she called her 9-year-old granddaughter who spiritually married us. It was a really weird, random thing. It became a joke.
That sounds like something white people would do.
We were both white.
So
that checks.
For how long were you bullied? From like grade to what grade?
So this
When did it start?
It started heavily 5th or 6th grade.
So that's when like you realize, like in 5th or 6th grade, where you like the thought is, I have a bully. Like this is a situation.
I mean, I don't think you process it that way because it doesn't feel like you can really do anything, and so it just becomes a part of the day. But I mean, it wasn't just one person. It was a group, like it was a bunch of people. Okay,
you say it was a bunch. So was it like, so it wasn't just one person. Mm-mm. It was there like one person who was like a ringleader, or was it just like random kids that were just like picking on Levi all the time?
It was a lot of the popular group, and I would say more the guys. So like I would say like football people seen more in like popular group. Yeah.
So the popular kids the popular guys in general, like picked on Levi.
Yes, back then.
Okay. So I mean, it is like a group, or at least for want of a better word, a demographic of people picked on.
It was then, yeah. And I will say, so I left that school my 9th grade year, middle of my 9th grade year. So, and then I went to Chrisman. I never went through that severe of bullying, but I've had people make comments about the same stuff my whole life. So now I've come to a point where I process it much different. But I mean, as a kid, I don't think you should have to go through stuff like that. But also, it shapes you into who you can be.
So did it continue at Chrisman too, or did it kind of stop?
I mean, it wasn't like a consistent thing, but I mean, there'd be comments. So I wouldn't say it continued. No.
But okay, so there wasn't like a situation where there was a collective group. Mm-mm. Or like a person that like.
No, I was actually able to have a life.
Okay. So then you roughly dealt with this for like 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you ever was there ever a moment when with this like group or this organization of people, was there ever a moment where you tried to stand up to them, or was it like you just tried to keep your head down and hide?
I think I'm never a fighter. I was never a fighter. I don't like to fight. And so I didn't want to get to that person. So I would just ignore it or just keep going. Just let them, one kid in the middle of class one time handed me a gay magazine and was like, here, you need that. Like, things like that. I'm in the middle of but I mean, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? So I just, shut down and walk away. Get tripped in the middle of gym class in front of everybody. Jeez. Yeah, I could have went and pushed him and stuff, but what's that going to cause? All the other people who don't like me or bully me are in the same. I mean, so it makes no sense. So yeah, I'm just going to keep going. You feel defeated because it happens so consistently, and it's like, who can help?
Was this this was like roughly 3 to 4 years when you're in school by basically the same group of guys. And this was like, I guess I want to assume this was like just every day. It was just like something new, or were there days where like, oh, today was a good day. They didn't notice me today.
So I didn't keep track of it as much because like that in my head, because it happened, like it was just a regular thing. I will say it wasn't like every time I saw the same person, they didn't do something every time, but there was remarks at some point. There was at least a remark or something done.
Something at least once a day.
Obviously, there were days where it was way worse because kids were being kids. And then there were days that, it wasn't that bad, and I was just hanging out with my small group of friends. So
this seems like this is like very open. Like the picking on was like they didn't like wait till no one was looking and like punch you. So it's safe to say that other people knew, like the school knew. Mm-hmm. Now the question is like, so were you singled out, or was it like this group of people, the school saw them coming, everybody hide, get out, because nobody's safe, or was it like it was just mostly you? I
mean, no one. It wasn't like I think of the Proud Family. Have you seen that show from Disney Channel where they have the big bullies that come down the hall and everybody runs?
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. It's just like a normal school day, and I just happened to be the one that was the easy one to make a joke to, or the easy one to jab at, or say something.
So everybody else was like, they're just like regular kids, but like when they saw you, it was like, there's Levi. Okay.
Well, I mean, they weren't. I mean,
so yeah. But the school, like the rest of the classes, like your classmates, they all knew.
I mean, yeah. So lots of people, there were teachers that made fun of me.
That was my next question. Did teachers know?
Yes, because there was a couple of substitute teachers that participated in it, and
Excuse me.
Yeah, that participated in the bullying. And,
Teachers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Participated in the bullying.
Would make comments about me in front of the class, in front of everybody.
Yo.
So I remember 7th grade, I think, is I was out with Jeff, Tyler, and me and my nanny, and we were eating. I was out of school, and I just finally told my nanny that day that I'm just tired of being bullied, and I'm tired of, being made fun of. And so that was the first time I think I told my mom or my grandma or anyone. And they called the school. They gave them names. Like, they had to talk with me and, like, figured, discussed everything. And my mom wrote a letter. My grandma wrote a letter. It was this whole thing. And then, those kids got called in and talked to. But when they came back to class, they were pissed off because they just got in trouble because of me. And so while they may have stopped in that moment, I mean, they made some snarky comment when they came back to class, but it didn't stop it, And it's not like I never had like good interactions with the people too. It's just the majority of what I remember was always like,
What were their names?
I'm not doing that. I'm not going to give
name them and shame them. No,
I'm not going to give them names, and I'm not going to say the school specifically. The reason why is I may have said this on the podcast before. I don't know. I do not hold any ill will towards the people that bullied me to this day.
I do. I hope they're sitting in traffic right now.
I let go of that a long time ago. I honestly would love to run across one of them in a store and just...
Would you, if they didn't remember you, would you be like, you bullied me?
No.
You wouldn't remind them?
I would only talk to them if they recognized me. But if there was an interaction, life is that, I mean, yes, it was kids. It was rough. It shouldn't happen. It did help shape me to become some of the man and like the caring part of me today. But yeah, there's still things that I have to work through from it. There's still things that bother me, but they were kids. I hope that they have learned. I hope, but if they were to walk in the room, I wouldn't think ill will of them. Because I think we all can give grace. And I mean, hopefully own up to when we did things that we shouldn't have. And I hope that it taught them something in life. But as much as it was stupid, I don't hold ill will towards them. I don't want anything bad to happen to them. I wish them the best.
Yeah, like I said, there was never like a moment where like I was like ever. Let me say, I hope that I was never like the bully in someone's story or like the villain in anybody's story. Like there's a moment, there's two moments where I was like, where I literally got in trouble for. Like there was one time where. There was this kid in my class. I was like I was in middle school, and I drew a photo of him, and it was not nice. It was like he was a heavier kid, and I don't know I had no business.
Wait, that was you?
Shut up! I had no business making fun of this kid who was heavier because I was heavier, but he was also like 6 foot. He was a big dude, and I drew this really like obscure like photo of him where he was like bigger than obviously like he was cartoonishly large, and he happened to see me drawing it of him, and he grabbed it, and I was like, immediately I'm like, I'm in trouble, and he goes and shows it to the teacher, and then I get called to the teacher's desk, and he's like, what is this? And I'm like, it's a drawing. And the problem, I'm so dumb, I wrote this is so and so on the photo. I'm an idiot. And so I got detention. I think my dad got called. And like I felt bad, and I immediately like walked up to him, and I tried to walk up to him and apologize. And this kid like pushes my head into a wall, and boom, and I hit my face and everything. He didn't break skin, and I was like, I'm trying to apologize, and he's like, I hope you got in trouble, and I was like, I did. And that was the only time I ever really spoke to that kid ever again. Like I never really like had any other interactions with him. But again, that was like one time where I was like mean to a kid. This other time was a terrible thing I did. Well, okay, it wasn't that bad, but it was bad. There was this young girl. We were both in like elementary school, and we were square dancing because that was a thing everybody did in elementary school. We square danced, and there was this.
Can you still do it to this day?
We're not gonna talk about it. I bet I could follow all the commands they gave me now.
We'll go to Whiskey Tango or whatever it's called now.
That's line dancing. Square dancing is anyway. So there's this moment where everybody is interweaving, and all the boys, it was like you're partnered up with a girl, right? So there's like 4 boys and 4 girls. All 4 boys decided we were going to, when we crossed hands with this one girl, we would squeeze her hand as hard as we could. And I mean, maybe all the other guys and I did it, or maybe it was just me. But every time we saw her, squeeze it as hard, and we would just like, we rotated for like 2 minutes, and it was just 2 minutes of just agonizing torture for this girl. And maybe I was the only one that did it, and that makes it so much worse, because then I was just this jerk of a kid that was squeezing. We're the same age. This girl was she was tiny, and I got called into the principal's office about it later on, and I was like, I'm sorry, I got in trouble, I got detention for it again. I felt so
It's a running reoccurrence.
Still think about this to this day, and about how terrible I felt to squeezing little Sam's hand. And she was so sweet. She didn't do anything to deserve that.
Yeah,
she wasn't. It was
that kind of ties in.
Sam.
That kind of ties into the same thing I was saying. I think that yes, kids, especially in middle, you got diarrhea.
Get out.
Oh, I need to go. You got to go. So kids are dumb. Mm-hmm. When we were that age, we were stupid. And I think that, yeah, you make mistakes. I do think if you find out, what are you going to do one day if you find out your kid's the bully?
Bro, that's the question I had for you. That's like literally, that's the last question I was going to ask you. What would be your reaction if you found out your kid was the bully? Oh my gosh. I was going to say devastated. I'd be furious. Mm-hmm. Like, because again, like, I'm probably, I know I am, I'm not going to I know I'm going to spoil my kid, or hopefully, like, just give him basically everything he ever wanted or whatever. He's not going to lack for anything. He's probably going to have some nice stuff, some nice sneakers. He probably, my kid's good looking. He's probably going to be popular. Probably, maybe.
He's got his whole life figured out already.
Maybe, I don't know. But
he's going to be the president of the United States.
I'm going to be so mad if I find out my kid is picking on somebody who is maybe less fortunate, not as good looking or attractive. I don't know, not as financially well off as he. I'm gonna feel so bad. Like,
So what are you going to do, though?
You're grounded immediately. Like, I'm taking everything that you like.
Here's
away
a common
from you.
response, though. Like, so what are you going to do if another parent comes to you and tells you what your son's been doing? Now, you go and confront your son, and he says, no, this is not, tells a completely different story. So then are you going to tell the parent they're dumb?
No. Absolutely not. We will settle this so quick. Because let's say you come to me and say, hey, your kid is doing this. The first thing I'm going to say, thank you for telling me. I might even say, wait right there. I'm going to go ask my kid, hey, do you want to talk about X, Y, Z? And if he tells me a different story, I'm going to say, hey, so-and-so is claiming you did this. Now, somebody is lying. And he's obviously going to say, they're lying. Okay. You're going to get to call them a liar to their face. Let's go. I am an advocate of bring my accuser to my face. Like, let them accuse me of something, because we're not going to play he said, she said. You accuse my son of doing something, I don't care how foul it is. We're going to we will solve this immediately. Either you're lying or my son's lying. Somebody's telling the truth. And hopefully, like, if it turns out my son is being a bully, like, you're so grounded. You get I'm taking all of your shoes away. Like, you're like, especially if he's making fun of a kid for being less fortunate. One, you're buying him new things, like your whatever, like, allowance or whatever nice things you have are now this kid's, and you get to wear Payless shoes. Cause I had to wear Payless shoes growing up, and I got made fun of a little bit for it. So now you don't get to have nice shoes.
No, I think that's good. I think that's a good response to have to it. I think more parents need to hold their kids accountable. And I think a lot of times the response is they will instantly just say, oh, no, my kid would never. Which then, if your parents are the ones saying, like, if you're a bully and your parents don't care when people come to them about it, I mean, why would you stop? Why would you think that was wrong?
it is. It's also that like that thing that's so crazy to think. Oh, my kid would never. Like I don't know what my kid's capable of.
Yeah.
Like I know I have a sweet son, but if I get a call from like daycare and say, "Hey, your kid bit another kid," I'm not gonna say my kid. I don't know what he's capable of.
You got
I'm
a picture?
not looking.
Let me see the picture.
Like, let me see the teeth marks. Like, I know my kids bite. Like,
I got the measurements right.
like I'm not. I want to have my kids back, and I will say, hey, I'm gonna have my kids back. If he says he didn't do it, I will give my kid the benefit of the doubt. But I'm also gonna ask you, yo, did you bite another kid, dude?
Yeah.
Like, cause like you can tell me.
I mean, that's how you teach kids to be adults in this world.
Is by biting other kids?
No, holding them accountable when they do things wrong.
Yeah, bro, I'd be devastated if I found out my kid's the bully.
Yeah. No, I've thought about that before. Obviously, I would be upset, but I would want to have I'd have a lot of conversations with them and make sure it gets handled. And they would be writing apology letters and all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, you're writing the president. You're writing you're writing the president. You're writing Santa, Jesus. You're writing everybody saying you're sorry, and you're like whatever like you're bullying somebody for. You're going through that immediately. Like if you're bullying somebody for being poor, oh, I can't wait to take you to Walmart and the thrift store to get all of your like your next wardrobe is coming from there because you're not going to pick on somebody for being less fortunate than you. You're not going to do that.
So I have a question for you because you mentioned that I mentioned it a lot. Just because it is a part of me, it's a big part of what shaped me to who I am. I'm also not afraid because I don't really get to talk about my experience. Mm-hmm. I can say I'm bullied, and this is going to be part of the question I'm asking you, but that doesn't really tell you much because my experience was a lot more than I was just bullied. Because here's my question. When I've said, oh yeah, I was bullied when I was a kid, like what goes through your, like, what do you think of? You're like, oh yeah, so he just got picked on or like.
I think, you got like you said, like you got, you were the butt of a joke a lot. You maybe got pushed or shoved or tripped, maybe even pantsed. I don't know about like people shoving kids in lockers, but like there were probably some things that were done with the sole intention of just causing you humiliation, like in a public setting. Like there's been things like that done to me, but like, again, it was never like a consistent pattern. Like there was like, there's one dude, Kurtron, used to like tease me like in class, but like it was never like I never felt like Kurtron and I always felt like he and I were still like friends because he was just like kind of like say things out loud that would like be the joke was at my expense. I'm like, okay, you got me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't ever anything like humiliated where I was like, I don't want to go to school today, or I don't want to I was never afraid of Kurtron. Like he was still like funny and cool, and we hung out like after class sometimes, but like he would make a joke and I'd usually be the butt of that joke.
Yeah. But mine was like, I wasn't friends with these people. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't people who were just picking on like, cause we're friends. Like they were just other kids in the class. And typically it was the guys. That's why I've always had a hard time being friends with guys. Mm-hmm. Because I never really felt like I could be friends with a guy. Cause back then, I had a small group of friends. I was very involved in a church, and I'm thankful for that group of friends. Actually, the youth pastor, Sandy, was the one who sat my mom and told her my freshman year that it was still going on, and then kind of things that had happened, which is what brought it back to light. Because after I told my mom, I never mentioned it again because nothing ever happened. It kind of got worse, and like, what's the point? And so she thought that things had just gotten better, and they hadn't. Which then I got pulled out of the school and, they were doing talks and all that stuff. But it just, so I remember, I think one of the worst things that happened to me was it was in the winter and I was walking. So we live where the schools were, the middle school was here, high school was here. There was a McDonald's. So I was walking from the middle school to the high school where my friend's sister was to take us. And some kids were there and they were started harping on me and threatening to fight. And so then one of them takes this big old chunk of ice and just like throws it over my head. And then at that point, the friends behind me just like closed the gap and just said, keep walking. And so I just walked fast and got to her sister's car. But I mean, like, it's just things like that where it was just always something, stupid stuff like that. And luckily, did I have friends during that time? Yes, they were all most of them were girls, and they were all just a small group of friends that I really went to church with. And I think that there's there's people I went to school with that I still keep in touch with today from there. And, I hold no ill will, but I do hope that when my kid goes to school, I worry what it's like, but I hope that there can be something bigger done about bullying, because people literally kill themselves each year. Mm-hmm. So many kids because of bullying. And I just don't know how many more kids have to die before there's actually major change. But it's also one of those things where I wouldn't even know where to begin of how to change that, because how do you change 1 million people? Yeah, just making a side comment.
Yeah, and even then, this is weird. We were lucky because the internet wasn't really there yet, and so now there's even cyberbullying, where you may not you may get bullied at school, but then you go home and you're on your phone and you see on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat the bullying continues, and so it's the insensitive comments that I see is just close the laptop. Maybe that's your only place to escape.
Yeah.
And then you have to see it there. And it's just where do people have to turn to where they're not being made fun of? Where do people turn to when they're to not be the butt of a joke? And so it's tough. Do you wish, all the stories that you can think of, the times that you experienced bullying, do you wish there was anything you would have done differently or could have done differently? If you could go back, would you have maybe said something differently or told somebody else? Or
short answer is no, because and I say that because I'm a big person of don't live with regrets. Again, everything happens for a reason. I understand, but I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is somehow have more confidence to be able to stand up a little bit. But because I was being bullied so bad and everything, it strips you of your confidence or your ability to really, and how are you going to stand up to all the popular kids when you're the person that's on the outs? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, so you really feel and if you guys haven't gathered, people thought I was gay, because I have a higher voice. I'm not a hunter fisher. I'm not the typical version of what people think a man or a young boy should be. And so therefore I was labeled gay. And so the whole school would talk to me. I remember one time in a class, I was talking to this other kid named Ethan, and he was one of the kids not liked as well. We were talking, so instantly everyone's like, okay, they're gay, and just label it. And so I would try to fight so hard to just show people I'm not gay. I had girlfriends too, but obviously I know that doesn't matter. But in the scheme of things, we're in middle school. It just, yeah.
And
that's why it's still about that. I would say, so you mentioned in the beginning, have you moved on from it? Have you healed? That's the one thing that still bothers me, but I'm better about it, is when someone will say, oh, they're gay, or he's gay, or oh, that's sounded, because I think a part of it is from when I was a kid, but also
comments like that take you back to that pain.
That sounds so dramatic,
but it's true. If it's true, then it's true. It's and it's probably annoying that it's true, that those kind of comments still can transport you back to those painful times.
And it's because I want to have confidence in that, but how can I have confidence in? Well, I do now. So I want to have more confidence. This is what it took for. How could I have confidence to be who I was, as God has created me like this, who I am? But everyone else was telling me, you're wrong. I was labeled to everyone else. My voice didn't matter. My thoughts, my opinions, what everyone else thought mattered. And so it just became pointless, to even do anything about it. You just kept going throughout your day.
Would you you kind of touched on this, you hold no ill feelings toward them. What would you want to say to, those guys if you had the chance to speak to them, meet them?
I would honestly just want to catch up and see how they are. I know that sounds weird. I mean, yes, if it gets brought up about, I don't want to just beat around the bush about, if I was to have a conversation, I would address it. I would say,
elephant in the room. Y'all were bullies. Anybody want to say anything?
Here's the honest truth. You know what I would hope would happen? Mm-hmm. I think what I always imagine is that they would apologize. Mm-hmm. Now, would that really happen? And that I wouldn't go in the conversation just waiting the whole time. But if they apologize, that would probably mean more than anything in the world. Like if we had a face-to-face interaction. However, I honestly I hope you're doing good in life. I hope you found success. I hope you've learned to be a better person than you were in middle school.
Yeah. Because we are idiots. We
are, and that's why I give grace. And my therapist has told me before I over empathize with people, and so I need to figure that part out. But this is one of those things where I forgave them a long time ago because once I got out of that environment, there are things that confidence and lots of things that I steered away from. Even singing, I wouldn't sing on a stage, which is so funny because I auditioned for American Idol and stuff, but worship, they had to force me to audition. I would have never auditioned on my own will. I was so scared to be on stage, just scared to talk in front of anybody. And that's why it's cool to look back now to see the trajectory, because I've been through that hard part, that storm, and I got out of it. I was able to flourish when we moved into the city. And then now life, I got into church. Through that, I was able to learn the ability to sing and praise way better. But also I was able, when I worked with the youth, I spoke to the youth. I led messages. And so that was able to build up stuff in me too. So it's just been cool to see the things that helped guide me to who I am today. Not that I'm just Levi.
Interesting. What advice would you have, for a kid if they come to you and say, hey, I have a bully?
So first off, one would be, I would want them to know you can always come to me no matter what. Mm-hmm. And I will always be a safe space. I always want anyone to know, I'm here for you. I want to be able to help. This is the hard part for me because it goes back to what I said kind of in the earlier, about the understanding bullying and what someone's actually going through, because I don't want to ever disregard. But I have had cousins, or some people come up to me and they'll tell me their stories. And maybe this thing's something I've learned about, but because maybe it sounds selfish, but they'll tell me what they went through, and a part of me will be like, oh, that's nothing. But then again, that's what it's either, and I don't know if that's my mindset because I went maybe in my eyes through something worse, or if I'm just really in the grand, I don't know.
Yeah, you're possibly looking at their experience through your lens, and you're like, that's not.
Which I never tell them.
That's not bad enough.
I never tell them that though. I never tell them that, but my actions then kind of, because when you feel something, you're kind of like. However, I have had my little sister come up to me lately with this specific kid, and so she's told me on 2 different instances now. And so those are things okay, you've told me twice. I don't see you every day. Have you told your teacher? No. Why don't you tell your teacher? I don't know. So I mean, I do know why they don't tell their teacher, because you don't want to tell the adult, become a snitch, become a tattletale, and then you're labeled as something else on top of whatever they're bullying you about. Because kids are mean. And I hope that I am teaching my kids to love everyone no matter what. And my thing here's my thing. If I was gay, why would it matter? Why would I need to be bullied? Why would I need to be picked on, to be made fun of in front of a whole class? Have teachers, I think that is one of the most surprising things for me. Have the teacher talk about me in front of the whole class. Just... Why does it ever need to be to that point where kids are wanting to hit you or beat you up all the time, or threatening to beat you up, or you're this, why?
Because you're different.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. Now, this was a small town that I came into later on in life. Mm-hmm. And so I will say maybe there was some of that small town vibe, but I don't know. I'm still friends on Facebook with some people. Like I said, and I've seen them succeed, and I love keeping in touch. The people who were bullied, because I have this folder, there were letters written by multiple other students explaining naming the people who picked on me and things they did. And so I don't mind if you want to see those letters sometime. I'm not going to read them on the podcast, but, I do a folder that has all that information in there. There's one for my mom, my nanny. I think there's like a couple friends, my youth pastor at the time, just things like that. And so my mom was able to give that to me a couple years ago, and it is interesting. It's cool to have to be able to read back on, because I think when you're bullied every day, you almost feel crazy sometimes, because it's like, why am I the wrong one? So if you're being told you're wrong every day, that's not normal. You go home and you're like, is there something wrong with me? Am I the crazy one? Is this really happening? And then you hear other people validate. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting.
That's good, man. All right. Anything you want to say to wrap up this subject?
I think talking about it's good, but I don't know. I think there's more to this. I think there's more episodes to come out of this.
I guess I'm just grateful that I didn't have to go through anything like that. Like, again, I had friends that like picked on me, but it was never like a situation. Remember, I don't know if you were around when like pantsing was a thing, like in school. That was like a fear of mine, that like which one of my friends was going to be like play the practical joke of pantsing kids.
I know, I never got pants, thankfully.
Neither did I, but like all of my friends, like they all went through it, and I was like, I'm so glad I'm not close enough with anybody to think, let me pants Caleb. Yeah. But in gym class, that drawstring was super tight, because it usually happened in gym, but that drawstring was like,
my pants only
you
fell.
Ain't gonna get me.
My pants fell one time, and that's when I was playing middle school basketball. And you know, middle school, they always have the hand-me-downs of like years. You don't even know where it came from. But they only had this one size that was going to fit me, and it was too big. So I had like cinched it all the way. It was still too big. So I took tape. No, I didn't take tape at this point. So I was like, okay, it's on there, but it's a little loose. So I went to go shoot a leg up, and they just dropped. And so I was like, oh, pulled them up, and then I went and duct taped them around.
That's wild.
So, no, I think, I don't know. It's always interesting when we film these podcasts, because as we're talking, I forget what I say. So I'll be interested once it's finished to see like how I explained what happened to me, and if I said it well. I don't know, because I questioned them. Maybe that's something that stems from it. I question everything, but
I told you to look at the notes.
I wanted it to be real and authentic. You told me to be authentic.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and change gears like news reporters.
Man, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
I got something though this week. So, you know what irks me?
Everything.
Yes. But specifically, when people when you're asking someone for directions, or you're getting directions, and you're like, hey, how do you get to the Kmart over there? Because, Kmart's the thing. And they're like, yeah, you go west on 23rd Street, and then you go east and then south. Drives me up the wall. Do not tell me west. Do not tell me east, north, or south. I need to know right, left. That's it. I ain't got time. Are you one of those people who tell you north?
No, I'm not asking for directions.
But you know what I'm talking about.
I do, but I don't do that because I have a cell phone.
Okay, but in conversation, when someone tells you directions and they start saying, oh, yeah, it's just up north,
Oh, is somebody like, hey, how do you get somewhere?
Yeah.
I say, you have a phone. I started this episode and said, sometimes I can be a jerk. You have a phone. And then I will walk away.
But if someone tells you, like, yeah, you go west and then east, what do you do with that information?
I was like, I say, okay, Christopher Columbus. Okay. It's so frustrating. But, like, for me, like, sometimes it's not like west or east, but, like, people will be like when I was at the resort, I think I talked about this last episode, I was like, hey, how do you get to this spot? And they're like, oh, you head west. I'm like,
that's what I'm talking about.
Don't do me like that.
Yes.
Point, boy. Just say head this way.
Right, left, or yes. Tell me which way.
But yeah, like, man,
we have moved past atlases.
We have a friend together who was like, I think you might have been there, and I was a little bit of a jerk to her, and because we were playing pickleball, and we were like, hey, we're gonna go to Andy's afterwards, and she was like, how do you get there? And I was like, you have a phone. You'll figure it out.
You did.
And I walked away, and like people were like, is he joking?
But here's the thing. If she would have looked up, it was It was right in front of us, just on the other side of the parking lot.
Even if it wasn't right in front of us, like, bro, you have a phone, like, you'll figure.
What if the bill's not paid?
You have a phone, you'll figure it out.
What if we broke? Listen, inflation's hard. Times are hard. What do you got this week?
So, okay. This is super vain.
All right, folks, we'll see you next week. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, what's up?
So, okay, let me say it like this. I do not like running into people in public. If I don't plan to see you, I don't want to run into you.
For sure.
I don't care how close we are. Like you, I'd be like, because you've run into me at like a Costco or a Target. Nah, because I think I told you where I was and you ran up there anyway and met me somewhere. You've run into me at Costco.
Hobby Lobby. You were framing a picture.
Whatever.
Do you remember? I remember now. And then I showed you, were like, and you said, "You dumb as hell."
Yeah, because you were dumb. But so again, I don't like to run into nobody. But I was running some errands, and I don't know why I was dressed up, but I looked fly as all get out. I had on a shirt with pants, and I had on nice shoes. Like I was looking. I felt great that day, and I was just out running errands, looking good. What was I doing? Who knows? Anyway, I was down at the plaza, returning something, and I happened to see some ladies that I knew from my previous job, and I was like, I know those girls, and I like brought them out. I tried to like get their attention. And I was like, "Hey, Amber," or whatever, and like they kind of like heard me, but they kept walking because they don't want to respond to being catcalled. And I got out of the car. And I was like, "Hey!" And I had on again. I'm in all black. I look I had just got a haircut too. Whew, boy, couldn't tell me nothing. But I hopped out the car. And they were like, "Oh, Caleb!" And I had some shopping bags. And I'm just like, "Hey!"
Like, was this people you were close with when you worked at that job?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, they were homies. Yeah,
because you just said like, I don't like talking to people, and then you initiated the like, "Hey, it's me, Caleb."
That's because I felt good about myself. I was like, I was dressed up. I was like, "You gonna see me?"
Oh, okay.
Do you ever been in sweats and a t-shirt? I'd have waited till they passed.
Do you ever be in a store though, and you're like passing someone you know, and like you do that awkward stare, and it's
Is it like a do I know you or I like
no?
It's
we know
obvious I know you.
We know each other. We were like knew of each other, but we had conversations before. But you can tell, like, do I say hi and they're doing the same thing, and then it passes, and you're like, oh well, it's too late now. Do they think I'm a jerk?
It depends, because like there's a guy at our church named Nate. We'll use him as an example. I don't really interact with him that often, but like I know he exists. He knows I exist. We know each other. Like if I saw him, I'd be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" But then that's all the interaction that I need is, "Hey, what's up?" and then keep going.
For sure, yes. But if someone wants to stop
but then I'm like, is that all that they wanted out of the interaction? Because then I'm like, geez, I don't know. But I ran into some people, man. I was like, I'm glad y'all caught me like this.
Hey, listen, there's only been one day I would say in the last month where I looked at myself. I was feeling myself that day. This was just last week, and that's why because I know what I was wearing. Yeah. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, your hair looks good today. I was like, it is a good thing I am married. Married. As my wife's in the room glaring at me, what'd you just say? No, it is funny. So I told you I was a singing telegram the other day at work. Mm-hmm. And the lady's never had someone sing to me before. She said, if I wasn't married, I would marry you right now. And I tell my wife all the time, you gotta watch out, all these older ladies coming after me.
I was gonna say that reminds me of something, and I was gonna go into a story, but we're gonna keep this episode short because we love Julia.
Yeah, we're actually gonna see you all later. We hope you have a good week.
Next week on the podcast, who's coming up next week?
Cassie and Joel.
So we're bringing back Joel. I know y'all don't really want to see him, but we're gonna bring him back. But
they've actually been requesting him.
Way more. Who? Name one person that asked for Joel besides Joel.
Brooklyn.
Name a real person that asked for Joel.
Brooklyn's real? Okay. Joel, where are you?
Name a person that can vote that asked for Joel. Joel's going to be here, and we're bringing in his better half, Cassandra. We will be talking about the foster care and adoption process and system. I hope y'all tune in. It's going to be a really great episode. We got a lot of good stuff planned. All right, folks. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in.